Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about ways to know that an INFP personality is in love with you. Usually, if you use the word love in front of INFPs, they might smile or they might look at you in an interesting way. They are idealists, but they're also witty and they have a sense of sarcasm because of their quiet intelligence. So they might find it very interesting that you've raised the topic to them. So if you are an ENFJ or an extroverted personality who is trying to see how they respond to you bringing up such a topic, it will be an entertaining affair. So this video is not about ways to know that an INFP is interested in you or they like you. I'm going to try to talk about ways to know that this personality type, which is actually a very serious personality, even if they look lighthearted on the surface. I'm going to try to talk to you about ways to know that this personality type might be in actual love with you. So to start off, first and foremost, if an INFP personality is in love with you, you usually do not have to do anything to keep it that way or to make sure that nothing goes wrong, because INFPs like and love authenticity. So if they're already in love with you, it is because of how you are, including your natural flaws and weaknesses and everything. So this is a type that will fall in love with the real you and not an idealized version of you or the you that is going to be appearing in the relationship in the first 10 years. You can expect that this is a personality type who will grow and walk the journey with you. So as you change with the decades in the relationship, this is a type who has the depth to be able to allow you that, to let you grow fully as an individual, and to let the relationship grow as well. So there's not much you have to worry about if this personality type is already in love with you. There's not much you can do to make something go wrong, unless you're someone who mistakes, something that has once been achieved as something that doesn't need my attention anymore. Because INFPs are very serious about investment in relationships. So if you continue investing in a steady, continued pattern, in a steady way, they will usually be a type that remains by your side always. I will start this video off with the largest sign that an INFP personality type is in love with you. To understand this, you have to understand that INFPs lead with a function called introverted feeling, or FI, as Jung theorized and spoke about it, and his research identified this particular function. Introverted feeling is a cognitive function that lets you know how you think about something, how you feel about something on a very individual level. On such an individual level that it concerns itself in no way with social standards or moral standards or standards of any community. So it is extremely individualistic and peculiaristic to the individual in question. This means that if everyone reads a certain sign as one that shows love, it could be that an individual who associates their own internal impressions of that action with something else might read that differently. But without complicating things, the reason I bring up introverted feeling, as I want to share with you, is that it is a function that runs very deep, but also makes people quite private often. INFPs have this function at the top of their stack. So it means they have an internal world or an inner world that is very deep, and they have strong emotions or thoughts or opinions about something, and people may not know. Now, having a strong thought or idea or emotion about something doesn't mean that you can verify it by how someone reacts. It's not that, being more reactive necessarily shows that you have a strong emotion or an idea about something. To know that someone has a strong opinion about something, you can kind of observe what they share with you, the details, and if they seem to take a certain stand when a certain matter is raised. With types like INFPs or even ISFPs who lead with this function, it means that someone can be married to them and in an intimate or close relationship with them for years or decades and not know that the INFP feels very deeply about something, because the personality is used to hiding such deep feelings because they have found that socially it may be easier and more appropriate to do so. And by intense feelings, this does not refer to intense feelings that trauma would cause. It's not that, they have electrifying feelings about something or anything like that. It's not intense in that kind of a way. Introverted feeling is intense in a way where someone has very deep personal, very serious thoughts about something that they may not have shared, and something that could move you in a certain way. If you hear them express that thought, you might be surprised that the person has thought about a matter so deeply. So INFPs are usually quite private about introverted feeling, and they are used to being this way, and it is not something that is stressful for their mental health. They're naturally private and reserved people to a certain capacity. But a sign that an INFP is truly in love with you is that they share some of these intense, very deep, and very meaningful personal emotions or thoughts with you, which introverted feeling is about, without thinking so much about how you will respond. Sometimes it is common to hear that people in long-term marriages with INFPs, where both people are quite happy, will share that 15 years down the line, my spouse shared this with me and I was surprised by its depth or how serious it was, as I had never heard them share thoughts of such a serious nature. So INFPs sharing serious things with you, for they are generally people who will show their affection or have a relationship with you that honors humor, lightheartedness, shared connection, and more. So if you see an INFP share something individualistic that is very personal to them and that is very serious, that has a very serious streak to them, it is a sign that this personality type is in love with you, because they feel safe enough, they trust you enough to reveal that side without thinking about how it is being socially received by you. So they are seeing you as a person, not as one sample of society that I have known so far in life that I know cannot handle such a serious thought when shared in this kind of a way that I've often had to tone it down, but that I'm revealing it to you since I've known you as a person who is capable of receiving something like that. So, to people's surprise, INFPs, when in love, can be very serious people. People sometimes who have um, a more superficial idea of this personality do not expect this of this personality type, but they're actually quite serious people when in love. Which brings me to my next point, which is more playful, is that INFPs become very goal focused when they're in love. Usually, this is a personality type who stays very relaxed about most matters. You will suddenly find that this personality type has a series of goals for you both and the relationship, and it might surprise you because usually they do not want to talk about plans or the future or strategy or things like that, because they have extroverted thinking, the function that manages all of that at the very bottom of their stack, so it is stressful for them. So usually it is unlikely to find most INFPs, although I will say some differ, including myself, but it can be generally unusual to find INFPs kind of planning their day with a long list that I do this at 7 a.m., I do this at 7:30. My goals for this relationship in 1 year is to go till here, in 3 years is to go till here. They're not planners like that. They're more spontaneous, they're adaptable. They're creative, fun people to be around who have a natural pace to themselves, and that comes up in how the relationship unfolds as well. But you might be surprised that in love, that an INFP starts to plan, and you see a little bit of a bossy side in a playful way. They suddenly have goals for the relationship. This can take us to the third point, that when this personality type is in love with you, you may find that they become slightly bossy or dominant within the relationship. This is similar to the previous point where I spoke about how they set goals for the relationship. But it is always possible for someone to set goals without being the one who is doing so. So suddenly you will find the INFP kind of becomes the one who wears the pants in the relationship, irrespective of gender or sexuality in this romantic relationship or marriage or a partnership or whatever kind of relationship you're in with the INFP. So they become people who want to make the decisions. And they're not going to be stressed if you don't let them make the decisions, but you will see that they kind of try to wiggle their way into assuming this role, which can seem quite amusing to people who may have no idea that this personality type has this side to them. You know, different people respond differently in love, and most people, I would say, do certain things that they don't do otherwise. Some people become people who joke a lot. Some people become overly serious. Some people suddenly become serious and start planning years into their life that they've never done before. So it's not rare for people to behave in certain ways that they don't usually behave when they're in love. So for INFPs, who are usually very laid-back personalities, you might be surprised to see that this personality type becomes people who want to take charge. And this can lead to, which is my next point, this can lead to them being quite physically passionate as well. So INFPs, when they're in love with you, when they're in true love, will have that kind of masculine streak where they want to make the decisions, where they want to do all the planning. It's like that extroverted thinking at the bottom of their stack, that it's like you've given that child, safe space to come out, and they're like, oh yeah, we're the best planners. They know they're not the best planners, but if you have inspired them so much as to decide that they can be planners in the relationship, I mean, hats off to you. Great job. I mean, it's a matter of something, it's something to be very proud about if you can make someone feel so safe to kind of show more unconventional, non-traditional sides of themselves. So if an INFP loves you a lot, you'll start to see an INFP's more dominant bossy side, slightly bossy, in a pleasant way, in a very funny way. They are generally never people who intrude on other people's space, and usually they will not end up in relationships where other people do that to them, generally speaking. But I mean, always there might be a certain type who has developed all their functions greatly and they have interested the INFP. An INFP in love with you is thus much more playful than usual. They become your planners. They are setting goals for you and your relationship together. So it's a very entertaining thing to see. If you're a natural planner, this can seem almost strange and it can make you laugh. But don't laugh at the INFP when they're planning and they say, I've planned the next itinerary for us, even if you think it's not done very well. And don't smile at them. INFPs are not sensitive in a way where they will take humor personally if they trust you or if they feel safe around you or if they like you. But generally, planning is that one little thing that's not their strong suit. So if they are, someone who likes you so much that they've come up with like this lovely plan they've made for you and them for the next 2 months, don't smirk or don't smile in a way where they feel because then they might retreat. You don't want an INFP to feel shy and to retreat. So you can always smile and compliment them, but don't tease them much in a way where they become too self-conscious. And the point that I shared is that the INFP in love is often a personality that is very physically expressive. To wrap off, I will say that an INFP in love will reveal an intricate map of their FI or introverted feeling to you. And you might feel like for the first time you're getting to know them in a way where they become a little more solvable. It's very interesting. So Jung also researched and theorized 2 functions called introverted intuition, NI, and extroverted intuition, NE, which is about convergent thinking and divergent thinking. One gives you the talent of recognizing patterns excellently and solving things and building systems and knowing how something works, while the other makes you a very creative thinker who is able to brainstorm in creative ways and find creative solutions and very interesting, roundabout, non-traditional ways of solving problems. Whenever a personality type has introverted feeling or FI at the top of their stack, they're not very simple people. They might look that way or they can be mistaken that way for a long time because they kind of like to give off that impression that they are solvable. But this is one of those functions that when a personality type is dominated or led by it largely, they can be very hard to kind of solve or understand because it's very peculiaristic and the way it manifests is very rich and detailed. So sometimes people will just think, if I have like a sheet that lists the INFP's emotions or feelings or thoughts and personal values, that I know how the INFP works. This is not necessarily true, because there can be a value on that sheet that reads, I like people who are empathic. But how that introverted feeling in particular has defined empathy can be so detailed and so intricate and so rich that it may have almost no similarity to how society defines empathy. So that's why this is a cognitive function that's quite hard to define. So when I say that when an INFP is in love with you, this introverted feeling may start to reveal itself to you in ways that start to make them a bit more of a predictable system for you. It means that you can begin to see the pattern under their values and how they work in general that you may have never seen for a series of years before them. You might be able to understand how introverted feeling works for that particular INFP. Where and how do their values form? Are they deriving it from intuition? Are they deriving it from emotions in a certain moment, or more longer term emotions? Are they deriving it from logic? So you might find a slightly different map of how the INFP thinks or perceives that then makes this personality or the person that is truly in love with you a lot more predictable and someone you understand and know. FI is really like a scientific instrument. It's very intricate, it's very complex, it's also very simple and beautiful. But it is not going to reveal itself very simply to someone who doesn't necessarily understand the subject. So the idea or the goal, if you want to have a very smooth relationship with an INFP, is not how much information you can get about that internal set of values, which some people make the mistake of. It's not if you have 100 points or 300 points. It's about understanding the basic concept of that FI. Okay, this is a personality type that is led by their personal values. But what is it about their values? Where are they deriving it from? Why does something gain more importance or value to them personally and not something else? You have to carefully observe the way their values form, why something gains more importance, even if it is not something that gives them greater immediate pleasure. Is it about meaning? Is it about efficiency? Is it about what makes logical sense? What is it that makes an INFP admire something? Is it credibility? What kind of credibility? Is it intellectual credibility? Is it something about maybe an individual's character? Maybe beauty, strength, courage, moral conviction? What is it that the INFP uses to form this map of the introverted feeling? That can reveal a lot to you about an INFP who's in love with you. So I will say that once an INFP is in love with you, and it's not just an INFP who likes you, they will reveal themselves in a way more spontaneously, where you can get this underlying map, not just a map of their FI, like, oh, I see that if they see someone respond in this way, they seem to feel this way. Not this map, but oh, I see they feel that way about human response, because they're looking at these three things in human character where when someone doesn't get what they want from another person, they reveal certain things about themselves that they don't at other times. But the point is that the INFP will reveal not their values to you at that point, They will reveal the process of how those values are formed and why there's a certain hierarchy or intensity in that very intricate system.